Jamaica's idiotic licensing authority defend importing ganja from Canada. This is Undiluted News. Mikey Bones reporting. In response to the recent importation of marijuana from Canada, the Cannabis Licensing Authority is looking for ways to justify its conduct, claiming that it has only allowed such imports in compliance with gazetted regulations. According to a statement released by the CLA on Friday, it said it authorized 224 export requests and 4 ganja imports under the rules of the Dangerous Drugs Regulations Act of 2022. And according to Friday's announcement by Industry and Trade Minister Albin Hill, the importer is a Jamaican business with 5 startups for which the ganja is being imported. He said the strains being imported are not available locally. Hill also stated that the weight of the shipment is more than 200 pounds. More than 200 pounds? That could be 20,000 pounds. No matter what he says, there is no justification for that, as police are every day burning down ganja fields in Jamaica and locking up people for planting it. And here we have the government bringing in weed from other countries. This is most disgusting. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Education is bracing for an escalation of the protest action by the island teachers who are now up in arms regarding the offer from the government under the wage restructuring program. The industrial action started on Friday with teachers in St. Elizabeth Tech staging a sit-in. 6 other schools in the parish also staged protests yesterday, with the action spreading to other parishes. Scores of teachers at schools in St. James, St. Elizabeth, St. Catherine, St. Thomas, Clarendon and Manchester joined their colleagues in wearing black and having staging sit-ins. 80% of teachers also calling sick at Garvey Massey High School in Clarendon, while a majority of teachers at Kellits High School, also in Clarendon, did not turn up to work. Finally, the judge in the gang trial that is making some right decisions, as more guilty verdicts were handed down yesterday morning in the Wandon gang trial in the Home Circuit Court. Gang leader Andre Bryan was found guilty of the killing of a man called Dooley in Price Right in St. Andrew. Also, he and Dylan McLean, Tariq James, and Jazeel Blake were also found guilty of 2 counts of facilitating the commission of an applicable offense by a criminal organization. The men were also convicted of knowingly facilitating arson of a dwelling house. They were also accused of the killing of Cedella Walder and Jermaine Bryan in New Nursery Fisheries, St. Catherine, and setting fire to their house on September 9th of 2017. However, most of the others were found not guilty and might be out on the streets soon to create more mayhem in the island. 2 men were wounded in an attack on a property at Caymanas Bay, St. Catherine on Monday morning. One of them was shot in the incident, which occurred about 10 o'clock. And it's reported that 3 men from Central Village went to an open lot at Tarzan District to pick akis. They were confronted by a man who instructed them to leave the property, but they refused. The man left and returned with a group of men armed with machetes and a shotgun. One of the victims was chopped in the face, while another was shot in the back. The third man, he took off and managed to escape. The police were called and the wounded men transported to hospital for treatment. Meanwhile, Alcourt Williams, the police corporal who was convicted of the murder of a man and the wounding of another during a brawl at a football match in Draxhall in St. Anne in 2010, was spared a life sentence on Friday. High Court Judge Justice Georgiana Fraser pointed out that Williams had no prior convictions or charges, and his committal of the offense was done while trying to stop a crime in progress and in keeping with the mandate of a police officer to serve and protect. In the end, Williams was sentenced to 15 years and 10 months for murder and 16 months for unlawful wounding. The sentences are to run concurrently. Reports are that Constable Williams, who was a spectator at the football match, intervened during a fight that involved several persons. He reportedly identified himself as a police officer and ordered a man who he saw with a knife to drop the weapon. The man reportedly refused to follow the instruction that was given to him and proceeded towards the policeman, who took evasive action and discharged his firearm. The man and another were shot and were assisted to hospital, where one of them succumbed to his injuries while the other was treated and released. Now, I am still puzzled at this policeman being found guilty of murder. Am I missing something here? Because if you're a policeman and a man is advancing on you with a knife, are you going to let him kill you, or are you going to defend yourself? See where I'm coming from? That's why I'm so puzzled. The gunmen seem to be targeting small business owners. From reports on the ground, scamming is not making any money anymore, and those that were involved are now turning to a new way to make money, as they were not smart when they were making money. They were flossing, buying high-end price of cars, and when they go dance, they would buy the most expensive liquor. Some use Moet and other types of champagne, and they wet up each other with it. Some even use money and light their spliff. So now the money done, they turn on business owners to rob and to kill. The little man who have a shop or a bar have now become their target. Even vendors on the street is not safe, as Willie Reds, a vendor in Portmore, was shot and killed on Friday, while a Westmoreland businessman called Sugar Rock, who operates two guest houses, was shot dead at his home in Waterworks. Two brothers, Dean and Dwight, who operate a bar in Roehampton Square in St. James, were shot dead by gunmen on Friday night as well. Peter Green, the owner of a plaza in Grand Spence, St. Andrew, was killed on Sunday morning, while Catherine Matthews, a cook shop operator of New Green in Manchester, was shot dead on Friday night, and a businessman called O'Neill Room, otherwise called D, was also killed in Palmer's Cross in Clarendon on Sunday. So the small businessmen have now become the target of these gunmen. Two men are now in custody after a team of officers assigned to the Kingston Western Police Division seized one illegal firearm, along with 35 rounds of ammunition during an operation on Sunlight Street in Trenchtown, Kingston 12 on Sunday, March 5th. Their identities are being withheld pending further investigations. And report from the Denham Town Police are that about 3:20 p.m., lawmen were in the area when a premises occupied by the two men was searched, and during the search, one Taurus pistol and 35 9mm rounds of ammunition were also found. A man was arrested and charged for breaches of the Firearm Act when he reported as a condition of bail in another matter at the Falmouth Police Station on Saturday, March 4th. Charged with shooting with intent, possession of prohibited weapon, and the use of a prohibited weapon to commit a felony is 29-year-old Rushane Campbell, otherwise called T-Man, of Bounty Hall in the parish. Reports are that Campbell was involved in a dispute with another family member on Wednesday, March 1st, when he left the location and returned with a firearm. He allegedly chased the family member and fired several shots at him. The man, however, managed to escape injury and reported the incident to the police. Campbell was subsequently arrested and charged, and his court date is now being finalized. On to sports in Premier League. Dunbeholden totally destroyed Tivoli Gardens 4-1. An own goal from Zokia Willis gave Tivoli the lead in the 8th minute, but Dunbeholden hit back in the 45th minute by a goal from Stephen Barnett. Fabian McCarty gave Dunbeholden the lead in the 70th minute before Malachi Douglas and Stephen Williams closed out the win, while a hat-trick from Fabian Reed carried Arnett Gardens to a similar 4-1 beating of Mullines United and temporarily took over leadership from Mount Pleasant after moving to 36 points. Two goals from Nicholas Hamilton carried Harborview to a massive 5-1 win over Falkland. Humber Lions and Montego Bay United also drew 0-0, while a Lucky Waterhouse edged Vere 2-1. Last night, Portmore and Chapelton Maroon played to a 0-0 draw, while Cavaliers came from behind to hold Mount Pleasant to a 2-2 draw. And from this draw, Mount Pleasant now moved back into first place with 36 points, which is the same at Arnett Gardens, but they have a better goal average. And this is going to be a really ding-dong battle with these teams this year in the Premier League. And if you ever miss the news on this radio station, please go to YouTube, type in Jamaican Undiluted News, listen, like, share, and subscribe to keep it going. That's news and sports on your favorite radio station. My name is Mikey Bones. I gone.